Hey, my name is Micah Gray, and this is the Freedom Ministry Practicum recap video, week 8. This week we actually had a guest speaker come in, and it was really cool. She talked on freedom, of course, and how lies had held her back her entire life. But the cool part about it was her perspective and the way that she handled life. And I think her uniqueness and her quirkiness were the coolest parts about it. I'm blanking on her name. I don't think Brady mentioned it once. But it was really cool. So the lie that she had believes that she didn't know everything and that she needed to. And she would always look at certain things and be like, well, they're hiding something from me and I need to know it. And so she talked about how that had hindered her through her life and how it continued to progress and continued to keep her in bondage, and how it led to other things and just relationship issues and all kinds of stuff. And then she talked about how God had helped her through this and given her the process of freedom without her realizing or even knowing it was a process of freedom, similar to the ones that Freedom Ministry now focuses on. And I think that was the coolest part, how she talked about how God works regardless of whether we know the procedures, the ways it's supposed to happen. But God just works, and it happens in people's lives, and you can see the process that Freedom Ministry walks people through, evident in so many other people's lives. And I loved her as a speaker, and to see somebody as unique and as amazing as that, speaking out and being themselves and truly living out the potential that God's called them into is really awesome. The other things that we did this week, we focused on our case studies. This is actually the last week for our case studies, and Laura spoke on Frozen, which I thought was cool. I believe it's Laura, I might have her name wrong. But she talked on Frozen and how Elsa, even at the end of the movie, it's a super popular Disney movie, even at the end though, she hadn't experienced full freedom. Yes, she'd learned to control a lot more about her emotions in a healthy, positive way, and she'd learned to love, but there were still things that needed to be resolved, similar to, or such as her parents' disappearance and lack of them being in her life, and then her continued work with, well, what if she gets angry? What is she going to do? How is she going to control her power in those situations? How can she still continue to use her gift to bless others while keeping it as something without hurting others in times of anger and stuff like that? So I really thought that was interesting, that perspective, looking at it and really understanding the full meaning behind the video, and not just looking at what the directors and what the producers wanted you to see, but also looking at, well, what happens in the future past this? What's the path that they're taking, and how would we be able to help somebody like that? And that was pretty much this week. It was really, really good looking at all of the different facets and just amazing things that went on this week. I'm super excited as we near the end of this practicum to see how much, just to be able to look back and see how much God's worked in my life and the people around me. And I'm excited to continue looking into the future and see where God uses this in my life to help others. So, yeah.